All right, National Ice Cream Pie Day. It's observed annually, August 18th. Now, the treat makes an excellent substitute for those who can't decide on pie or cake for their birthdays. So compromise, and they compromise and just have an ice cream pie. There are so many benefits to enjoying ice cream pie over just ice cream or just the pie. I saw a video of, I think, a mango ice cream pie. It was looking so delicious. I said, oh my God, where is this lady? Let me go and locate her.
It's a shop not too far from here.
Really?
That sells some very nice ice cream cakes. I think you should buy us some this evening. She said it was her show, right?
Right! No, I meant to say that I'm the driver of the show. It's not my show, it's our show.
You can drive the show and drive us to the place of cake and ice cream.
That's true. We have an ice cream cake.
Yeah.
But this is ice cream pie cake.
This is close
It's
enough.
not the same.
We're
It's not the
here. We make do. Necessity is the mother of invention. Yeah.
All right, ladies. So who are we starting with?
I think I'm going to go first
Go
because my story is the story of the day.
Oh, that's true.
So, as Uwa just said, Emirates to suspend Nigerian flights from September over trapped funds. So, if anybody has been following this story, I believe it was the middle of this month. Yeah, it was early this month where Emirates had talked about the issues they were having around being able to repatriate their funds to their home country from Nigeria. So as at the end of July, they were already owed $85 million. And that was they were looking at an increase, or that was based on an increase of about 10 million monthly. So they were, first of all, flying 11 times a week from Lagos to Dubai. They had to make the decision to reduce that to 7. And now they're further having to scrap altogether. And you kind of, based on the amount of money, which is why I mentioned that $10 million a month, when you have an income line of $10 million a month, you don't just throw it away. So this clearly could not have been a decision that was made easily. You know, Dubai is almost
tough
like
for them to make.
It's almost like Nigeria's playground. That's the first place a lot of people go to. The
ease of the visa.
Exactly, and you know, so it really was that kind of thing for us. So it's indicative of a larger problem, which is what we're talking about today. But on the aviation side, IATA, which is the international body for airlines, so first of all, just to put it into context, Nigeria owes a total of $450 million to IATA. So it's not just Emirates that's affected, all foreign airlines are affected because we pay for our tickets in Naira. But all of them, their home countries are outside of Nigeria.
So
their main operations is outside of Nigeria, so they have to get their funds out, right? So with those funds being trapped here, from a measure of different airlines, we today owe $450 million. In total in Africa, Africa owes, I think, about $1 billion. A couple of countries that were mentioned, Eritrea, Ethiopia, and co. But they've managed to start to pay down what they owe. But Nigeria has sort of held on to those monies. And what this means, beyond the fact that, of course, when we talk about precedent, this has happened before. This was how Iberia left Nigeria. Even United Airlines at some point left Nigeria, and eventually United is back. Yeah. Iberia never came back. But what we've been seeing is an exponential increase in the cost of tickets. So the people who are paying in FX abroad, buying tickets abroad to come to Nigeria, they're paying more. In Nigeria here, the first thing they did was start to remove the lower classes of tickets, the cheaper ones. And then, of course, even what is available now has actually now doubled in some cases, tripled in cost. And of course, when you add this problem onto the FX value itself, the devaluing nature of the Naira,
that even worsens
it worsens it. So aviation is almost out of reach.
Well, I was going to ask
or air travel rather,
because a friend of mine went to Dubai recently and he used our local airline, you know, the one that started the Dubai route. How would this impact those businesses? But I think they will thrive in this situation.
Yes, they would be expected to thrive, but they also still operate from Nigeria. So the cost of Jet A1 fuel will still impact them. The rising cost of operations of their own business. So yes, if they're able to put more planes on the route, and usually these things are quite limited, but maybe now that this routes have opened up in terms of access in terms of now 11 flights, of course, now being available, maybe they might be able to increase the number of routes that they have, or rather flights that they have a week. But they still will be impacted by it because FX impacts you everywhere.
FX because they will need to pay the.
So they would. Well, their main operations are here,
of course,
right? But of course,
they will need FX to deal with the other countries.
Absolutely. I mean, that's why I said that even in their running costs, they still have to buy Jet A1 fuel. So that's why I said it impacts everybody. As long as you are in Nigeria, you are impacted by it.
Absolutely.
But like I said, there's more to come.
There's more. We are coming back on the topic. Just hold on that. Not my finger. The lady refused to give me shakala.
You can announce
Ma chérie. Mi amor.
She's buying us ice cream. Don't worry. We'll all balance up by the end of all of this, isn't
Absolutely.
it? All right. Unfortunately, thankfully, Uti has already given the heads up. I have not so good news as well. So earlier in the week, we had a case of a great grandma who collapsed and died climbing the Lagos Bridge. So the story goes that there was confusion at Bega area of Lagos State after a yet to be identified great grandmother slumped while climbing the pedestrian bridge. And at the end of the day, it was gathered that she's in her late 70s. She wanted to connect the Lagos-Ibadan Expressway in company of her daughter when she suddenly slumped, collapsed, and all attempts to resuscitate her proved abortive. I think there was even someone who was a medical personnel who tried to resuscitate her, give her CPR, but she didn't respond and she collapsed. My concern why I took the story was the fact that in our country, again, we do not, there are certain thoughts don't go into certain things. You know, in other climes, we have arrangement for and provision for, like they call them the
escalators and all of that.
The escalators for our elders. I'm trying to
for people
remember the word, our older citizens, basically.
Yes, octogenarian. What do they call them?
It's skipped my mind now. So, but arrangements and consideration is made for people like that. So I'm wondering, a 70-year-old woman trying to maneuver the pedestrian. For some of us, if we are familiar with those pedestrian bridges, they are not even user-friendly for people who don't have disabilities or who don't have any challenges with health, let alone being an older person. So for somebody like that, it probably was challenging. And this is just another opportunity to bring attention to things that we need to begin to consider.
We don't pay.
Whether it's in our construction, whether it's our overview or planning for
look at the structure
the citizens.
Of Nigeria, there is no plan for physically challenged people.
It's only recently that even architects started infusing it into their construction plans and all of those things. But it should be.
It's not designed for the elderly. It's not designed for.
And that's why our elderly people die early.
But it's not. No, see, look,
it's part of the reason.
This country, again, I'm sorry, there's not much good news. This country is not designed for longevity of life unless you are
deliberate and intentional for yourself.
Given the high level of poverty that we do have, you find situations like this, right, where a 70-year-old lady is forced to traverse that incredibly high bridge. You go up,
high bridge with across, a lot of people, high traffic area as well, because a lot of people use it.
I mean, let's even be thankful. Now, first of all, may her soul rest in peace, but let's even be thankful that she used the bridge. Enough people have, in lieu of this
crossed the road,
being killed crossing the road. So the challenges are plenty.
There's a lot. And yet another challenge.
Yeah.
ASUU. Sue ASUU and get compensated. Minister of Education Adamu tells the students. So the Minister of Education has asked students affected by the ongoing strike of the Academic Staff Union to sue the union. He recalled that this union, which had been on the strike since February 14, is demanding full implementation of the 2009 agreement is signed with the federal government. So at the briefing in Abuja that was held today, the minister was asked if the federal government had plans to compensate students affected by the industrial action. Responding, he said, "We are all hit by the strike action, perhaps because students have to spend an extra 1 or 2 extra 1 year or 2. You can say that they are the worst hit. If you had the chance or the capacity to measure the effect of that on the economy is also a victim. Parents are also a victim. It's a loss for the nation. As far as I know, JAM would administer examination. Students will use it to process administration into university. Nothing has changed. So who do you assume will compensate the student? The federal government. Probably you should take the leaders of the strike to court to pay them. Probably the court will award damages, and then we'll see how they pay. Do I have words for the Minister of Education? I don't think so. So I will just move on. We'll see you guys after the break.